Oh, hey there. So I was just looking up on my phone and I just saw that I have actually stayed at more than 60 hostels in more than 30 countries around the world. So in all of those hostel stays, I have developed a few little tricks of mine that I always make sure that I take 5 specific things with me whenever I stay in a hostel to make my stays that much more enjoyable. So stay tuned. I'm going to share those with you next. Okay, so the first item that I always make sure I take with me on any hostel stay is a lock with a flexible cable. And I always like to have a combination lock because I don't want to have to carry around a key. If I lose the key, I don't want to worry about that. I just want to remember my combination, which is very easy. It's just 3 little numbers. And then what's nice about the cable is that it actually works on every single hostel locker I've ever used because it's thin. Because sometimes the place that you can put the lock on the hostel lockers is really thin and a big thick bar isn't going to fit through there. So that's why the cable lock is really nice. Another thing that's really good about the cable lock is that you can use it on your bag. So you can take your 2 zipper ends together and you can put it through there and you can lock your bag that way. If the locker is too small for my bag, I just put this cable lock on that part of my bag and then I just lock it up and I don't worry about it. It's also good for just walking around town. If you're on a subway or if you're traveling about on your way to your hostel, it's nice to have your bag locked as well. The second item that I always make sure that I take with me on every trip is something that you may think is very unusual for a minimalist packer. I actually try to make sure that I don't take anything in my bag unless it's absolutely necessary because I like to keep the weight low and to have hardly anything in my bag. That's just kind of my goal. Every time I travel, I want to have less and less and less. But this item, I actually always make sure I take with me. It fits in the palm of my hand. And let me give you the story about what it is before I share with you what it is. So I was on a Christmas market trip in Brussels several years ago, and I was staying in a hostel. And of course, it was freezing cold outside, but it wasn't cold at all inside of our room. In fact, our room was roasting. It was so hot. There was no way to turn down the heat. You couldn't open up a window. Everybody in that room was just dying. As soon as it was sunrise, we were completely out of the room. We couldn't take it anymore. So during the night, I just kept on thinking, gosh, if I could just have some kind of a small fan that I could bring with me that I could charge by USB and that was battery powered and I could just use it anywhere. I wonder if anything like that exists. Well, sure enough, I looked on Amazon when I came home and it does. So this is exactly what I bought. It fits in the palm of my hand, very small. It opens up like this. You can sit it on a platform if you want. You can, if there's nothing to sit it on, you can actually hang it from something. You can take another little cord thing and maybe hang it through that. And then you can run by battery, or you can plug it into the USB and then it can be powered throughout the night so that it doesn't run out of power. It has 3 speeds, really nice. And what's really great about it is that these blades won't hurt you. If you accidentally bump into them in the night, they don't hurt your hand. They're not going to cut you. They're just plastic and they're not going to tangle your hair or pull your hair out or anything like that. So this is something that has not only been helpful for me in hostels, but also just in other points of travel. I remember I was standing on the tarmac waiting to get on the plane in Cyprus, and oh my gosh, it was so hot. It was just roasting hot. And I didn't have a piece of paper with me or anything like that to use as a fan, but I did have this. So I pulled it out and I just, boom, I just had this fan and everybody around me was so jealous. They wish they had something like that too. And then in a hotel stay in Croatia, I was staying in a hotel that had a door that went out to a patio, but there was no screen. And I just kept on thinking, it's probably not smart to leave this open for several reasons. Safety is number one. Number two, bugs. And then number three, if you've ever been to Croatia, you know that they have lots of cats. And I just thought, I could just imagine I leave this door open to have fresh air. In the middle of the night, I wake up with cats all over me. That sounds fun, but wild cats, I don't think so. So anyway, so I closed the door, but then it was just stifling hot. So I pulled out my little fan and actually made the little platform. I DIY'd something, put my little fan right inside so that it could run during the night, and it just blew on me. It was just so nice. I had some nice little breeze. It just felt really good. So even if I don't stay in a hostel, I still take this with me just because it has so many other practical uses. I just love it. Comes in lots of different colors, so you don't have to get pink, guys. So my last 2 items have been more like safety with the lock, and then the fan is more comfort. But both of those items still tie along with having a good night's sleep. And the reason why is because if your bag is locked up and secure, you're not going to fret and worry that someone's getting into your bag in the night. If you have your fan, you're not going to be too hot. You're going to feel comfortable and you're going to have that nice little breeze. You're going to be able to have a good night's rest. So a good night's rest is very important, obviously, when you travel, especially if you're a fast traveler, because you're constantly on the move and your nighttime is very important to get some good rest. Item number 3 goes along with that. And that is a lovely pair of earplugs. And I have tried lots of different kinds. This is my favorite. This is Protect is the brand. The reason why I like it is because it's not shaped like a bullet. They're called Meteor Foam. So I don't know if that's supposed to be the shape. I don't know. But anyway, they have just more of a shape to them. And they're squishable. You can easily form them and put them inside your ear. And once they're in and you put them in correctly, there's no sound. They're fantastic. And these are really great because when you're staying in a dorm during the night, you can't control if people are going to be coming in. What you can control is if you put the earplugs in, then you don't have to worry about people coming in late at night or making noise or people snoring. That's the worst. Anyway, so if you have this in, these will be really great and you'll get a good night's rest. Number 4 is a sleep mask. I like the satiny, silky type material. Just I feel like it's nice and cool and it feels good on my face. Other people prefer the ones that are cupped. They don't want anything touching their eyes. So anyhow, whichever kind is your preference, I highly recommend getting a sleep mask. This goes along with the earplugs. If your roommates come in late at night, they just arrived or they're hanging out in the city and they come in really late, then you don't have to worry because no one's going to wake you up by flipping on the lights or anything like that because you have the thing that's covering your eyes. You're going to sleep just fine. I have never had a problem with ever being woken up in a hostel by late incoming roommates because I have the eye mask on, I have the earplugs in. It doesn't bother me at all. The next item for my hostel stay, item number 5, is a good pair of flip-flops. Now these are great for a variety of reasons. First of all, you don't have to wear your shoes around the hostel. You can just throw these on and you can just wander about, and they're just nice to have by your bed. If you need to use the restroom in the middle of the night, you can just throw on your flip-flops. The other reason I use them is for the shower. I personally would never use a hostel shower without something on the bottom of my feet. That's entirely everybody else's preference, but that's me and that's what I like, is I just like that extra protection. It's a public shower. I would never use a gym shower or something like that without flip-flops either. If you don't want to use them for the shower, like I said, they're just nice to have just to walk around the hostel and not have to have your shoes on, especially if it's wintertime, then you don't have to have your boots on or whatever you've worn outside. You can just throw these on. So that's my item number 5. Now I actually am going to share with you a bonus item. This little item right here, it comes in this little case and I'm going to open it up for you. Now this one might seem a little strange to you because it's very small. So as you can see, it's not very big at all. I'm going to step back here so you can see it's not very big. This is my quick dry towel for the showers in the hostels. Now when you stay in a hostel, you have to rent a towel usually. Sometimes they'll give them to you for free, but most of the time you have to rent them. And that's not a big expense. Sometimes it's like $3 or something, but that adds up over time. And if you're trying to budget and save money, it's just nice to just have your own and not have to pay for that. So that's why I take this. And this is a microfiber quick dry towel. And so once again, it's quick dry. So it's going to dry fast and you don't have to worry about it being all soggy and gross and not ever drying and getting all musty. It's just a really good quality fabric. It has this little thing that you can hang from the rafters if you're on a bottom bunk. If you're on a top bunk, you can hang it from like something else from out there and just hang it to dry. If you shower in the evenings, your towel will be dry by morning for sure. And let me just explain to you why I choose a small towel. It's because it actually dries really fast because it's not a lot of fabric. And also, I personally am never going to walk around a hostel with just a towel on. It doesn't matter the size. And so it doesn't need to be big. I'm just going to change and dry off and put my clothes back on in the shower area because they always have an area that you can change right by the shower. And so I don't need something big. Why do I want to carry around some giant towel if all I need to dry off? I just need to dry off my body. I don't need that. So that's what I always make sure I take. So this is a bonus item that I wanted to share with you. So those are my top 5 items plus a bonus item of things that I always take with me to a hostel. Now I hope that these inspired you and gave you some ideas of things that might help you with your travels. And even if you're not staying in a hostel, maybe you'll just find some of these things useful for your hotel stays or just your travels in general. I would love to find out what are some of your things that you always take with you when you travel, especially if you travel to hostels, because I would love to get some new ideas. Maybe these items are not the top 5. Maybe there's some other things that I would actually like to improve my backpack and my travels with, and your suggestions will help me. So I'd really appreciate it if you would leave a message in the comments below and give me some ideas of things that you really like to travel with. In the meantime, thank you so much for joining me. My name is Amy. This is Solo Travel Adventures with Amy. I'm so glad to have had you share this time with me today, and I'll see you on the next video. Bye.